Travis Wayne Goodsell. Having to update a fourth time, I think, now. This computer. What the hell is up with Windows? There's only one virus, according to my virus detector, but that was this morning, before all the fun. So, just got through watching Rod Taylor and Weena, the original movie of the Time Machine. And of course I am able to glean some Mormon criticism as a result. From John chapter 3 verse 19. And this is the condemnation. Isn't there a condemnation in Doctrine and Covenants? Yes there is. That light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest. Manifest. Where have we heard that word before, Mormons? That they are wrought in God. Light is truth. So if light is truth, darkness is falsehood. Truth is science. Darkness is anti-science. Science deniers, truth deniers, those who love to use fallacy to argue a point. Apologists. Then we have Doctrine and Covenants, section 10. Now, this one's interesting when you know the light of real LDS church history, not the darkness that is being perpetuated by the current administration. Because this just happens to do with something that the current leadership claims did not happen. Yeah. And of course, in the 1981 edition of the Triple Combination, they didn't quite decode all of the necessary words. And so as a result, the Lord was not decoded. Just think of the Lord of the Manor, Batman. And so here we are in verse 21. Well, we can go to 20. Verily, verily, I say unto you, that Satan has great hold upon their hearts. He stirreth them up to iniquity against that which is good. And their hearts are corrupt, and full of wickedness and abominations. And they love darkness rather than light, because their deeds are evil. Therefore they will not ask of me. Satan stirreth them up, that they may lead their souls to destruction. Oh, that he may lead their souls. And thus he has laid a cunning plan, thinking to destroy the work of God. Yea, he saith unto them, deceive and lie in wait to catch, that ye may destroy. Behold, this is no harm. And thus he flattereth them, and telleth them there is no sin, to lie, that they may catch a man in a lie, that they may destroy him. And thus he flattereth them, and leadeth them along, until he draggeth their souls down to hell. And thus he causeth them to catch themselves in their own snare. And thus he goeth up and down, to and fro in the earth, seeking to destroy the souls of men. Yeah, we have over 70 million Americans who love darkness rather than light, who would rather believe and only listen to the lies rather than hearing the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They don't seek it. They don't like hearing it because it condemns them. So in the Mormon Church, all is clear. There is nothing wrong. All is clear. There are certain trigger words, even accompanied by that music, tone, and beat. Today is a kind of a flashback to Benson's solemn assembly in 1986, April General Conference, where he quotes Miracle of Forgiveness by Spencer W. Kimball, who quoted Elder Packer, who said, I can't believe they all passed it along. Yeah, the beat and the tone and music turns people into lust machines. I'm just a love machine, and I don't want anybody but you. When they also claim that being pregnant, listen women, being pregnant is a grievous sin. I'm not getting the right word, and I'm not going to look it up. I'm only at 10%, but I don't want to be up too late. But yeah, it's a sin to be pregnant. But yeah, fun to the youth of the noble birthright. But that's what Mormons do. You play a hymn for them. You see, what did the church tell you to do when you're confronted with sin? They tell you to sing a hymn. They don't tell you to think of your grandmother. I guess that's a fetish now. So yes, sing a hymn. And the spirit magically chases away the sexual urge. And women no longer are pregnant. There's your birth control for you. Sing a hymn. And now, but yeah, the hymns are that brainwashing, just like the annoying nuclear siren in the time machine. Because Mormons associate it with the feeling of reverence as the church has designed it to be for sacrament meetings, for conferences, etc. And so the music is playing in your head as you're listening to the words of the talks, using code words, and Mormons get brainwashed. And you think, well, no, that's the good brainwashing. There is no such thing as good brainwashing. Dear God. because it all leads your soul to destruction. When you let faith be your guide, you're not letting fruit be your guide. Alma 32, starting in verse 28. You will liken the seed unto the word. And so the word alone, you have no idea whether it's light or dark. It's just a seed. You have to produce the fruit to distinguish whether it's light or darkness, truth or lies. And so yes, Mormons are all about the seed. I got a seed, and I bear testimony to you that this seed is true. Watching a 1960 film, I was telling a whole bunch of jokes. Weena, you're with me. You are now my woman. Stay away from that man. You are mine. They just barely met and already he's chosen his mate. Granted, all he had was an old, wrinkly skin. And then Weena doesn't help. Would I be pretty to your old men back at home? What do you mean, be pretty to them? You're my woman. Oh. And of course he's having a fling with the mannequin. I want to see how far this will go. It is among my top favorites. Probably in the top 5 still. Until Stargate came out, it was my number 1. Oh man. So, yeah, it is, I've talked about it some days ago, about how Mormons change when talking about Mormonism. It's like a switch flips on them, just like the Eloi when the siren went off. They were conditioned and programmed to all in unison just walk to their doom where they got eaten. And the concept of fighting back for their lives never occurred to them. They just allowed themselves to be eaten, to be taken captive. And it was all clear. And so, yeah, at the end, which 3 books would you bring? Well, a science book, obviously, with all of a reference book for all of the math equations and the basic formulas. That's the first thing. Of course, many people would say, oh, the Bible. Well, where did the Bible come from? Oh, it came from God. Again, are you just saying that because that's the cool thing to believe that can never be proven, like a seed that never gets planted? Or are you interested in finding out the truth? everybody loves to have seed. Nobody wants the fruit. Consequences of seed. And so how do you get people to use light in all of their doings? Because those 70 million plus can't survive on darkness only. They'd be living in a complete fantasy land the whole time. And they would have to be in denial as to how they are breathing, let alone how they obtain food, clothing, shelter, communication, transportation, etc., etc., etc. I mean, to think that, there's all these false conspiracies around. Notice I didn't say conspiracy theory. That's part of the brainwashing. Incorrect definitions. But, Mormons refuse to seek for the truth. And how do I know that? Because I sought for the truth, I found it. And as a result, I found out that critic historians are wrong. That's what Mormons don't understand. That's what LDS X's and critics don't understand. They rely on those who didn't do enough of research. They made a conclusion hastily. They found out one thing from hearsay and made it a conclusion. And so everybody else says, oh, I love that idea. That sounds good to me. Yeah, Joseph Smith raped a 14-year-old girl. Yeah, burn the witch. That never happened. It was an accusation by Oliver Cowdery. But like in his day, people loved it, especially Bennett, who was excommunicated by Joseph Smith for adultery, caught in the act. And so he tried to claim that Joseph was a fallen prophet and said, Oliver Cowdery once told me you had sex with a 14-year-old girl. And then it spread. David Whitmer was the brother-in-law to Oliver, so that's how he knew about it. So yeah. But if you're not going to do full research, you're never going to know the truth. You're going to love darkness rather than light. If you're going to ignore the evidence of the inverted pentagram all over Temple Square, from the bronze on State Street to the carved in stone on the temple, you love darkness, which that symbol is of, rather than light. Which is kind of, is it ironic? Because if it points up, it's light, but it inverted pointing down is dark because it's falling. It's burning out. And yet it represents Lucifer, which in Latin means light bearer. The one who fell from heaven in Isaiah. King Set. Satan. In Paleo-Hebrew. But yeah, I've seen this all over Utah. Mormons deceive. They lie in wait to catch people so that they can destroy them. And they don't think it's wrong. They don't think it's sin. They don't think it's corruption. They don't think it's a crime. Crime is not a crime when we do it. And they seek to destroy. That's what my last video was all about. Everybody's wanting to destroy me because I sought for the truth. I don't like just sitting in darkness. I don't like not knowing the truth. I don't like things being kept from me. I don't like being told this is just the way it is and it's all that we know. There's no way to know the truth. That doesn't sit well with me. And time again, I've proven everybody else wrong. When everybody says it can't be done, I go and do it. It's not hard. The blueprint of how to know anything, Alma chapter 32, starting in verse 28, right there, middle of the Book of Mormon. How to gain light. That's why my mission scripture, you were supposed to select a favorite mission scripture, and this company would give you a mission plaque with your mission photo and your scripture, favorite scripture. Mine was the Doctrine and Covenants version of the light of the body is the eye. My whole body shall be full of light. And if it be dark, how great is that darkness? But yeah, if you don't care to know the truth, if you just go to church saying, well, it's true, it'll one day be shown to be true, it'll be shown to be true after I die, fruit will just magically appear. How many of you saw the thumbnail of the tree of death with the great and spacious building? I couldn't get the conference center in the picture. It would have been awesome to do that too. The street, it made it awkward. I'd probably have to do another picture frame of North Temple catching the conference center, and then doing right next to it, paste it together. But I thought that was quite clever. I thought the one about 1984 with the conference center was quite clever too. I did notice that people think that the Book of Mormon has the keystone versus the inverted pentagram as the keystone side by side. Yeah, that one's doing fairly well. I'm surprised. So, I don't know what I'll do for this one. 13%. Yeah, it's going to take a long while. I'm probably going to be able to go to bed before it finally... Alrighty. So, that program is about 6 to 8 minutes. So yeah, this really all it is. Do you love lies? Telling lies, listening to lies, only believing lies? Or do you seek for truth? Do you want to know the truth? And when it comes to religion, there's a lot of lies. And people claim that's true, just like all the lies that are not religious. I mean, seriously, you guys go to the doctor when you get hurt or when you have trouble or sick or whatever, but then when we have coronavirus, you're like, I want to have my free agency to not wear a mask. And what are the consequences? You know? They don't want to, what was the word they used? Let's see. Turn your shame, deceive, they destroy, there is no harm, telling them a lie that they may destroy you, they flatter them and drag them down the hell, thus you can catch them. Don't snare, destroy the souls of man, lieth, disease, call the lion. I missed it. Where did it go? We may not be ashamed in the end. I lost it. It's in here somewhere. And it shall turn to their shame and condemnation. He saith unto them, deceive and lie in wait, that you may destroy, no harm, thus he flattereth them, and telleth them there is no sin to lie. Catch him in a lie, that they may destroy him, thus he flattereth him, and lead him to hell. Was it in John? Must have been in John. Now, so let's go back and find out. Because their deeds were evil. Yeah. Lest his deeds should be reproved. There it is. Yeah, because nobody wants to be reproved. Nobody wants to be condemned. Nobody wants to be exposed for being stupid or a loser. Loser! Trump's a loser! SNL, Jim Carrey as Biden last week. Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff with Trump. But yeah, that's why people keep it going, keep the lie going, because once they start listening to the light, it's boring. And I'm here to tell you, no, the real church history is awesome. It needs to be made into a movie. Seriously. I mean, there's sex, there's violence, there's a conspiracy to overthrow America, there's an infiltration in the church that causes an assassination of the founder of the organization who was running for president of the United States. I mean, seriously, we're talking National Treasure level material here with Nicolas Cage. I don't know why Dan Brown with Da Vinci Code, I don't know why he gave up on pursuing the Mormon version. I mean, wow. I mean, he had gold right there for Richie Cunningham. But nope, he decided to go to Washington, D.C. instead. So, yeah. I mean, that's an awesome tale. And I'm still working on it. There's so much information that has been kept from us, so much darkness that covers the light. But yeah, for some reason, people who dwell in darkness think that darkness is better than the light, because they assume that the light has to be a certain way. That's the way I was growing up, is that I thought, I can't listen to hymns all the time, because that was what my brother believed. He would only play on the piano church hymns, because he thought that the worldly music was evil. Especially after he told his mom, I really like Olivia Newton-John's Let's Get Physical. Todd, let me talk to you about something. Physical does not mean physical exercise. Yes, I know she was riding those exercise bikes, but that's not what they were talking about. I don't think, because the video I think has both. Both exercises. But yeah, and so that scared my brother. Oh no, sex, evil. Whereas I was different. I like that song. I'm going to keep listening to it now. But yeah, that's what they should have been teaching us this whole time. What Packer and Kimball, my God, Kimball. Okay, you go. It's just all idolatry. That's all a list of commandments are, whether it's do's or don'ts. It's just all idolatry. There is only one commandment, and it's love. And then people assume, oh, no, it's not sex, Travis. Well, if you want to go that definition, rather than the other definitions, there's eros, there's philo, and agape. Huh? Well, when Jesus was talking with Peter and he asked him, Peter, do you agape me? And Peter responded, Thou knowest I philo thee. Jesus was depressed. His countenance fell and asked again, Peter, do you agape me? Thou knowest I philo thee. And so Jesus then asked a third time, Peter, do thou philo me? Feed my sheep. In other words, don't tell lies. Don't spread darkness. Nelson's going to be spreading darkness this Friday. This coming Friday. He's got a video planned to tell us that Jesus Christ will help us through this coronavirus and these protesters who won't submit to police authority and the starvation and the natural disasters. Just believe in Jesus. That'll cure all your ills. As they sit on trillions upon trillions upon trillions and refusing to give a single penny of it, as they demand money for tithing so that Mormons can participate in the rituals, fast offerings so that they don't give of their money, and then they can take a 10% from that to invest it, to add to their trillions. Even through LDS charities, it's the same thing. It's all donation. And then the perpetual education fund. Oh, see how we're helping them. Yeah, you're enslaving them through debt. You're giving them a loan. They have to pay it back with interest. You know, if they're nice, maybe they don't have interest, but nonetheless, typically there's interest involved. And they're in a third world country, so they're not likely to be able to get a job, even if they graduate. But isn't it nice that the church came out and said, you don't have to pay your debts during coronavirus. We'll defer it. I hope they're not adding the interest. It's just all darkness. And Mormons perceive it as light.